What's up, boys? We're back with some more of the Shapeshifter Formations 1.0 release. Today we're going to be doing an armored spaghetti build. So we're going for the phalanx ship, and then in here we can gain 1% status strength for every 10% armor, 1% fire rate for every 12.5% armor. When we use our active ability, we will also have ×3 armor on top of that. So let's lock that guy in, and then we're going for the Helix Rifle. This does a 3-shot burst alternating between light and dark, and then both of them. Chance to generate orbs on hits, which can do a bit of damage or heal us. But the main thing is this will give us a bunch more armor as we collect light orbs and give us a bit of healing, plus it looks really cool when we get some good piercing and fire rate on it. And then we're going to probably just ban the dodge tag, I think. And we'll add the additional projectile tag, because that will make it much easier for us to find piercing and bouncing for our projectiles. So you can see we've got the spaghetti going now, and as we scale up our fire rate and all of the projectile modifiers, that will eventually look very insane late game. Our ability creates a force field that stays on the field for a little bit. Ooh, that's a pretty nice start. A glitch is a small chance of getting 2 copies of that, so that's a big boost to armor and movement. Do we want to ban any of these? I think I can do this one because we actually do want to have fairly high uptime on the ability for the armor modifier. That's also pretty nice. I think we can leave all of those in. We could probably lock one of those, grab that for now to make the start a little bit stronger. We might be able to get a bit more value out of those if I wait, but this is by far the highest threat level I've done so far, so I'm not going to go too greedy with all of our little modifiers there. We're just going to take some nice armor modifiers early on. Oh yeah, what do we start with on those? So we're at 89% armor already, which reduces damage by 47%. Bringing us to 27% fire rate and 66% status strength. Oh yeah, there's also a very strong armor legendary that gives us 1% global damage for every 3% armor. So that's a massive damage increase once you start finding some of those. Heal increases your healing. We won't actually be taking that much damage probably, so I probably could banish that, but it's technically useful. I think there's a few things that are actually just straight up downside, so for now we'll probably just take some decent crit damage here, and we'll save the banishes for stuff that are actively detrimental to me. Let's see, I think all of these are fine. This is pretty good for all of our elemental based stuff. That's not bad. I think we'll go ahead and grab that. So there's 4 main status effects. Burning and shocking are both damage related. Burn is just your standard damage over time. Shock will keep applying stacks to an enemy, and once you reach a certain amount, it will cause an explosion on them. Chance to fire corrosive splinters. These are all fine. I'm probably not going to be holding that many splinters, but it's not bad overall. I kind of want to grab this just to get some more corrosion stuff going. I guess I actually do have some of that on the helixes for now. That's decent. Yeah, I don't have the helix rifle tree maxed out yet. It actually takes a pretty long time to get all of the meta progression for all of the ships and weapons and all. But I did recently gain a bunch of the status effects applied to basically every hit with it. Let's see, all of these are fine. These are both decent. Let's go with some of that, I think. Orb strength is pretty good. And then the other 2 status effects are the frost effects, which will slow them down and then eventually freeze them completely. Okay, we got a glitched armor and status strength, that's very good. Yep. And then corrosion is a damage taken debuff. There's also a couple kind of like related status effects frostbite will do a bit of damage based on how much you're slowing them down, I believe. I don't know the exact mechanics. Armor and then chance to fire lightning bolts are both pretty nice. Let's go ahead and grab that so we have some more of the status related stuff going on, since we're trying to scale all of that up with the armor bonuses. Then we can always just pop that for some extra damage with the 3x armor multiplier. Overload and shock is okay. I don't think we need to ban any of those. We can probably just grab this to have some extra burning related stuff. These are all fine. Applying corrosion also applies burn. That's pretty cool. There's a bunch of different elemental effects that we could actually banish that since we're going for elemental based stuff. I think I'll wait a little bit just in case. So there's a bunch of different elemental like hybrid things where applying one effect applies the others, and then it gives you a bit of passive stats for both of those effects. So we definitely want to grab all of those for this build if we can. Oh, here's another one. Overloads apply corrosion. Okay. Oh, we can probably banish that. I don't really care about constructs too much. So our overloads, that's the lightning explosion once you hit enough of those stacks. Apply corrosion, and then I think it was corrosion applies burn, one of those. Either that or burn applies corrosion. Not super important. We could banish that. I have 3 left. That's fine. We don't actually cast the ability that often. Light orb strike enemies with lightning bolts. That's kind of cool. We should have a decent amount of those as we get our attack and projectile related stats up, since the light helix has a chance to generate those. And we'll also be looking for the items that increase the generation of those as well. Pop that for some more damage. Oh yeah, one thing I've noticed is that it seems like the faster you kill enemies, the faster they actually spawn as well. So by having very high damage, you actually get more XP as well, it seems like. Glitched on that, but I don't think we want that. Freezing an enemy deals damage. I'm not sure how good that is, but the frostbite is a stat that deals damage based on the slowing effect. So that's probably fine at rare. I think freeze actually is kind of our primary status effect here as well. There's a very, very strong armor and freezing item for the build, where the more you freeze enemies, the more armor you get, up to a pretty high amount. You lose the bonus when you take damage. Ooh, those are very nice. So let's lock that and grab the big armor. It's glitched, so we get double those stats. I think it's up to 50% armor for a single copy of that epic item. You lose it when you take damage and have to restack it, but our frost application should get pretty insane late game as we scale up our armor and attack speed. Fire rate and damage are decent, but I don't think I'm going to take any of the stuff that lowers armor, so we'll probably banish that to make sure it doesn't show up. Don't need to banish any of those, and we can go ahead and grab that. And now I think it's just when we shoot the walls, it will bounce off of that and make it much easier to hit multiple targets. But as we get some piercing, our shots will go through enemies, and then we'll usually trigger that anyways. Another armor, that's pretty nice. So how are our stats doing with all of those? 220% armor up to 69% damage reduction, nice. That gives us a 38% fire rate and 99% status strength. And now we must kill Blockbuster for a second time. Chance to deal 8 damage. It's okay, it's not amazing. We could probably toss a reroll here. Ooh, chance to fire a light orb, that's pretty nice. Armor and health is also decent. It's not bad either for more ability uptime. I think we'll probably take the extra light orb generation for more healing and to keep that armor buff from the weapon up a bit more. So we actually can block those projectiles with this thing. It won't stop his stomp attack, and it won't stop those circles. But the armor boost is pretty helpful. So we got a free crit chance, that's fine. We can probably do one buy on a bunch of tagged items. Let's see what we got there. Armor, movement, nice. Armor, decent. Bit of piercing and chance to fire projectile, decent. We lose some crit stats, but gain huge armor, health, and movement speed. That's decent. And then it's 596 for another, so we can't do that. We could grab an armor health thing there. The first one I buy is free, so it's not the most efficient, but the early part of the run is the hardest, so we'll do that. Buff up a bunch of different stats. We gain one banish, which is probably the best thing there. Prime boss. Dual picks is okay. I think I like the extra banish plus a bunch of other random stuff. Oh crap, I forgot to gamble there, oops. It's actually the main reason I want to stay at full HP on the boss. We can probably banish that. Projectile bounce +1. You can gamble 25% of your HP for a decent chance at getting some items, and every once in a while you get lucky and get like 2 legendaries off of it as well. So if you're at full HP, you can actually gamble your HP 4 times for a decent chance of getting some nice items there. Hitting a frosted enemy to cause a frost explosion. It's not the best legendary, but it does fit the frost build, so it's not terrible. There's a lot of pretty junk legendaries depending on your build, so I think we're just going to save the altars for stuff that's completely useless. It's honestly not bad. Much armor are we at with that? 920%, 90% damage reduction, 109% fire rates, 169 status strength, and that's crazy with the ability up already. Could have been even higher if I had remembered to gamble there too. So we'll banish that because it has minus armor. So here we go. This is going to be kind of junk because taking hits won't actually deal that much damage to us. We won't really be scaling up explosion-based stuff. Extra shot, that's pretty solid. Do I want to save a construct generating orbs? It's okay. It might be helpful to have an okay-ish purple in the early game. I guess we could probably just dual buy that since we have 2 of those anyways. There's some pretty good orb and status related hybrid things as well. I believe there's a legendary that causes any sort of orb you generate to also trigger a status effect on the enemy. And then I think there's a purple that causes your orbs to increase status strength whenever they trigger. So those would both be fantastic for the builds. That's not bad. Projectile speed, weapon damage, accuracy. These are actually all pretty decent though. Kind of just want to go for the armor. Projectile speed I don't think does anything here, and I don't think accuracy does either. So I guess that's not actually that good. We'll just take a blue that triggers a lot of extra hits, I guess. So when weapons have like a spread or a little bit of a variation on where they fire, then accuracy will make them fly in a bit of a straighter line. I don't think that ever applies to the Helix rifle. And then projectile speed makes them fly further. I don't think that works either because we just seem to hit the entire arena several times over when it's bouncing. So healing and frostbite are both fine. That does nothing since we'll have a bunch of different status effects. That's actually bad, so if we could get some more banishes, I would love to ban that at some points. We'll probably take the frostbite to fit the elemental stuff. It's okay. These are all fine. Actually, that gives some decent pierce chance when it's glitched. The accuracy and targeting beam I don't think will really do anything, so it's really just 10% pierce. I guess that's fine. Chance to fire corrosive splinters is pretty decent. On damage, not the greatest. Yeah, let's get this so we get some more corrosion application, and then the maximum is improved as well. So it's easier to hit the maximum damage debuff, and that maximum will be a bit higher as well. Chance to spawn a construct, that's useless. Firing an orb to fire another of the same type. Oh, that's pretty good. That will give us more healing or damage. That's actually pretty good for a green as well. I think we'll do that since we have a decent amount of orb-based stuff. now we start having a lot of lights on the screen at the same time. Chance for enemies to drop an extra shard, that's fine to get early on for more XP. That'd be kind of helpful. Probably save the lockdowns for like at least a good blue though. See, our item is Pierce Chance. So we can probably get two things here. Okay, this is the very good Frost thing. So applying Frost increases your armor up to 50%, that's crazy. It's lost when you're hit. Then it also improves the Frostbite damage thing. That's fine. Projectile bounce, not bad. Dark Orb, fine. 897, anything up there? Probably not. Pierce Chance, Pierce, very nice, Pierce. So I forgot to do this thing where you can gamble your health away for a chance at items. Unfortunately, we took 2 damage on that fight, so I can't get the final one. Let's see, damage crit is solid. Construct that blocks projectiles, that's fine. That doesn't do anything at all for me, so I may as well salvage that for scrap. Dark Orbs is fine. Pierce Chance is fine. Oh, I accidentally bought something there. I don't think we care about any of those too much. Lock, dual pick. 2 banishes is pretty good. 50% damage is a lot. It does lower their health as well though, which is pretty helpful, so I'm down for that. So, purely missile based and it's on kill, that's not very good. We can alter those. That's a lot of different stats, that's pretty solid. I don't think we need to banish any of those. Ooh, glitched armor bonus. I don't think we need to banish any of those. Try and focus that guy down if I can because he has those annoying circles. These are fine. I don't know if we want to take any though. We could probably use a pre-reroll here. Health and armor. Do we need to banish any of these? Not really. I think there was a blue that reduces armor that we still need to banish at some point. Status strength armor, one of the best greens we can get. What are our stats at with that now? 11, 28% armor, it looks like, 92% damage reduction, 141 fire rates, 200% status strength. Transpire homing missile, that's fine. Ooh, dark light orbs have a chance to trigger the opposing effect, and 10% orb strength, that's very nice. Actually, all 4 of these are really good. Let's dual buy these 2 and then lock this for the next one. I won't really be scaling up missile stuff too much, but it's kind of just a free on-hit thing that's based on your weapon damage anyways. And I think it should be able to trigger some on-hit stuff maybe? Like some of the elemental status-based stuff. Not positive on that though. We could banish that. And then grab that for extra status stuff. That's junk. That's pretty junk since we actually want those stats and don't care about constructs too much. We can banish that. Probably toss a reroll, that's fine. None of these are that great anyways. This one actually scales decently because both the percent and the duration go up. So if you get a bunch of them, they eventually become pretty good. A lot of the bosses do summon enemies during the fight, so I guess we'll start stacking those a bit. And then it'll always be up during the enemy spawning waves as well, so decent damage increase during those. Prime enemies are just the little mini elites that spawn a lot of the time. Those are both decent. We have 3 locks left. I don't think we really need to though. We'll go for the extra shards. Shards are actually a bit better in this game than a lot of bullet heavens because they are both your XP and what you spend at the shops. Oops, I probably should have saved that for the boss since he's out in 10 seconds. Oh well, a little bit more XP for him. So this boss actually has a phase where all 3 of the triangles will get close together on the center. If we save our cooldown for that, we can actually do a bit more burst damage to him, since AoE will be more effective at that point. Maybe, I don't remember if the Prime does it. Okay, there we go. So I don't think my ability will block that thing with the pillars. So you have to watch out for all the explosions from those. dash through that. Fortunately, we took damage as I was dashing there for some reason. Chance to cause an explosion, that's fine if we want to buy that. Got a free fire rate status strength, that's decent. Corrosion, that's fine. That's the frozen into lightning, that's decent. So we would need about 800 to get both of those. Projectile bounce, not bad. Pierce, armor, pierce. 1200, so we can grab both of those plus one of these if I want to. Status strength armor, very good. Pierce, fire rate, pierce. Shocking, pretty good. Dual crits, lose a bit of movement, pretty good. Ice spikes that freeze and frostbite, that's very good. Negate a single hit, that's fine. Construct that fires, that's useless, but it will make any constructs we get slightly better, which might help out a little bit. Dual picks, locks, charts, probably just grab that one so we can buy more in the shop. Now we got the spaghetti going pretty strong. All those extra bounces. Ooh, another copy of that. We got a glitched orb thing, so we'll lock that and grab the armor. Yeah, let's see what armor can go up to now with all of that. 1470%, 94% reduction. 184% fire rate, 251% status strength. Fortunately, we don't have the damage legendary yet, but it is tagged as armor, so we should be more likely to find that than most of the legendaries whenever they appear. There aren't that many that actually match the tags I have for this run, I think. It'd mostly be projectile related stuff. Try and get that guy down again, he's kind of annoying. So this is actually kind of useful as a frost construct, but I don't think I'm going to spend any of this stuff on it. We'll go ahead and grab the light orb thing. These are both fine. We'll get some of the orb stuff up, I think, with no downside. And this is with only the tier 3 weapon upgrades unlocked as well. At tier 5 you get some pretty crazy and unique stuff for them most of the time. roguelite orbs. Oh, we could banish that once I get some of them. I don't want to lose a bunch of armor for mainly just the fire rates. These are okay. We do have 4 rerolls left, sure. Double crit is decent. That's a lot of enemies now. Double weapon damage, don't really care that much. It's also a reroll here. Probably get the ramping orb strength here. Fire rate, extra shot. Oh, glitch on the dark thing. And we do have a lot of projectile bounce. I don't know that the dark orbs are actually doing that much damage though compared to all of our elemental effects. I think I'll probably take that for the 2 stats there. I guess fire rate isn't the most important. Let's just take whatever cool glitch stuff we find, I guess. Try not to think about it too much. Oh, that does not block those. crit 20 and 25, not bad. We got his unique boss drop. Every 7 seconds, fire 7 homing projectiles for 70% damage, not bad. That's fine. Status is decent. Piercing. Fire rate, orbs, pierce, orbs. Negate a single hit, armor, pierce, armor. Let's see, do we need any of these? Not really. We could actually use some scrap to change some of our blues into the armor thing. Some of those are pretty important though, like the various status-based stuff, the projectile bounces, light orb generation. So it might help, but it's kind of risky. Ooh, elemental, fire rates, weapon damage crits. I think I'm going to scrap that because I'm not sure if crit applies to elemental effects, which should be the majority of our damage. Fire rate's good. Ability fire rate, that's not bad. Ability fire darker light, that's fine. Free reroll shards. More shards. Well, 46% armor, 93% reduction, 204% fire rates, and 233% status strength. We never found the most important legendary, the armor that gives damage. But we have 5 other legendaries. Toss a reroll at this. Burn increases burn strength, that's fine. Ability does orbs that explodes. Wait, on heal, that will trigger a lot with all of the ice orbs that we're generating, and frost is probably the primary one. I guess that does increase orb strength as well. I kind of want both of those. I guess we'll just take the epic. Overloads apply corrosion. We do have a copy of that, but it does give some decent elemental stats down there as well, and improves the corrosion applied. Apply burn, shock. We do have a copy of that, so that applies extra stacks and improves the overloads on damage. Do we have anything specific for burning? That's on applying corrosion, so no. So overload's actually fairly important as well. Do we have the freezing copy of that? Yes. So freezing is the best and overload is the second best since they kind of funnel through that order. So improving that's actually pretty good. Our freeze goes into overload, goes into corrosion, into burning. Oh, I guess the thing that blocks hits actually makes it a bit easier to keep up your armor stacks. That's pretty nice. Although there's so many enemies, it's going to be kind of hard to keep it at max strength all the time outside of the force field. Prime enemy, health. Oh, we don't have a copy of that. Chance to apply corrosion. Buffs that up a decent bit. Yep. I don't think there's an option to turn down, like, graphical effects on this, are there? I guess you could turn down the quality a bit. I don't think that would make that much of a difference. But it is getting pretty oops. Exit without saving, no. So you have to manually apply that and then exit? That's kind of weird. I don't think that made a huge difference. Still extremely flashy. Let's toss a reroll there. Probably don't want to lower our status effects when accuracy doesn't really do anything. I guess the orb thing is fine. Ooh, armor movement speed, more corrosion stuff. Looks like a bunch of shock stuff up there. Pierce chance, not bad. That does nothing, may as well scrap that. Armor. Missile on kill, that's fine. Pickup radius is decent, that's the shop thing. Pierce is fine. Ability is good. Max health is good. Overload's fine. I don't think we buy any of that though. Oh yeah, so the way Pierce works is that every 100% guarantees that you pierce one enemy. So you can kind of keep scaling that up and keep improving your AoE damage. Non-prime. Max items is kind of cool. Free level up prime boss. It's not super important. 50% boss health is pretty annoying. So we're now up to 33% armor, 94% damage reduction with the ability up. Orb stacking, still no vanishes. We have a couple locks, not super important. I guess that's not bad either. It's probably the biggest damage actually. Extra shot chance, glitched. I don't think that's that good. I don't think I'm gonna use a lock on that. That's very good. That's not bad. I guess we will use a lock on that. And then we'll have one left to save for something very good afterwards. Could use a copy of that at some point, but I think that's one of the best blues we can get. There's overloads just popping off everywhere. Spaghetti overload. It is kind of cool that the hit blocker thing let me get a flawless there, even though I took a hit as well. No, that's pretty good. Damage, prot speed, I guess that doesn't do anything, but damage and status strength are good. Fire rate, extra shot on heal. Okay, we got a free copy of that, nice. What is that? Ability stuff, lose weapon stats, probably not, although it's not terrible I suppose. Pierce, weapon damage, fire rate, another one. Yeah, it's fine. Global damage, dual crits, ability damage, crit chance, ability uptime. Don't care that much. Max items, and the items are upgraded by 1 tier. It's nice. 50% boss health and damage on top of that is kind of annoying. 2 bandages is actually pretty nice. Between that and probably that one, I think. I think we'll go with the boss items with no downside here. $14.75% armor, 94% damage reduction. Still no super important legendary for the build, but it doesn't seem like we are that weak without it, though. so one copy of it would give me almost 500% global damage during the ability, I guess. These are all fine. Probably get the crit chance up a bit, I guess. Just in case that works on all of our status stuff. Yeah, there are a lot of flashing lights in the late game. Don't have any rerolls left, so gains piercing and damage on the projectile it fires. Honestly, let's increase the ability uptime. Those stats both help with it. And that gives us a ton of armor while it's active. Plus it makes it easier to keep up all of the stuff that's dependent on not being damaged. Double on that is not bad. It'd be cool if they would add a damage breakdown for like the orbs and elemental effects and stuff, so you could see how each of them is actually performing here. armor movement, and it's glitched. Not bad. Oh, I took 3 damage, no. On kill fire, 3 corrosive bolts. That's okay, not amazing. Orbs, burn, frozen, and 2 overload. I don't know if we want this. I don't really care about the ability damage that much. I guess it probably doesn't change the uptime that much, if at all. Big Pierce. I guess it's okay as we're killing a bunch of stuff. Boss health is decent. Shards 50%, but enemies do a ton of damage. YOLO. Did I forget to gamble again? I might have. Oops. Armor? Sure. So the ability up, we're up to 1973% armor, 95% damage reduction, 301% fire rate, 351% status strength. The legendary that gives damage based on armor would be up to over 600% damage now. And it is more likely than most legendaries since it has the armor tag, but we were just unlucky on this run, I guess. Still pretty insane though. None of these really matter too much. We can pick up slightly more shards. can't see anything near me when there's like a bunch of overloads and freezes triggering at the same time. There's so many flashing lights. Armor... I would like to have a copy of that for more abilities. I only have one lock though, and it's only green. Oh my god. That's okay, we have a copy of that, so it's not super important. It doesn't really add anything unique though, just a bit of damage. If there's anything based on burning that would help out a little bit with that. I think that's like the final step though. Oh well, rare for our main elements. But I don't know how much damage the frostbite is actually doing. Don't really seem to be getting a lot of bounces on the main weapon here. Seems kind of weird. No, we should be fully piercing through these guys, right? Free crit chance, not bad. We still need to ban that, I suppose. Wait, I can't do that even though I think I had full health there. We definitely shouldn't have taken any damage there. Shards 10%, max items and +1 tier. It sounds cool, although 50% boss house might not be worth it, but screw it. $1869% armor, 95% damage reduction, 302 and 355. Dark orb on hit, sure. But yeah, what would the bounce be on those things? I think it's a green for that. So they gain 200% of my projectile bounces with that many. What are my bounces at? I don't see it here. So 4, so the dark orbs would get 8 bounces, I guess. Armor, glitch, mainly just fire rate, so we'll take the armor. Orb stacking. Ooh, we can get a copy of that now, actually. Oh, I didn't see the pillar there, oops. I guess we definitely don't block those with the ability. It's actually harder to avoid that attack as your movement speed increases. Oops. That definitely wasn't ideal. Applying corrosion, applies burn. We got a free legendary chain lightning effect off of him, not bad. And the boss drop looks like a construct that tracks enemies rapidly, deals 10 damage. It's not very good for my current build, but I've never actually seen that one before. Damage, bunch of stats. I guess we probably salvage that one. Light orbs, not bad. Lightning, not bad. More shards. Probably not going to go too much longer on this run though. Max items and +1 tier. I don't know if getting the 50% boss health every time is worth it, but YOLO. (2,063% armor, 95% damage reduction, 320 and 405. So if we got the legendary, that would be almost 700% damage now. Oh, I have one of his pillars following me from his boss drop. Interesting. Oh, here's the orb synergy that boosts the strength of your elemental effects. Up to 25 stacks, so 50%, not bad. That's okay. I think we're going to end it soon, so we can just lock one of those and grab both of them. We'll probably finish off this loop and then call it. Let's see, I think this is the Hexagonner arena, so there should be one more boss after this one to finish this loop. Doesn't this arena have 5 sides? But the boss has 6 because he's a hexagunner? Grab our orb status. Damage or more armor. Oh, Serpentagon. That is definitely not the hexagunner. Oh yeah, this is the second boss, I think. So 2 more after this. Oh, the arena actually gains 1 side each time, huh? Since we started at 4 and we're at 5 now? Fire rate, shock, extra chain lightning, status armor. Block a hit, armor status, dark orbs. Armor, more piercing and exploding into projectiles armor. Yeah, it's fine. Abilities, dark orbs, overkill damage, and light orbs. One free level up for 50% health. That is definitely not worth it. Oh no, we have a lot of sides now, 2 for each spike. So like 2, 4, 6, 8, 10, 12 sides here from 5. should turn damage numbers off. If that's a thing. Oh, there is a score. Damage dealt 143 million. But I can't see a breakdown for that or anything. $22, 20% armor, 96% reduction, 347, and 461. Our maximum corrosion is 106% damage, it looks like. So that mainly improves the damage. Probably just gets more dark orbs. Armor, yup. Armor glitched on that. I guess we'll do that since we're almost at the end anyways. Ooh, another sub-zero plating. I picked up an item and it re-rolled them. I gambled and it salvaged the item. Burning stuff. I don't know if that's actually good if we're building for all of the elements. I guess my highest is Frost, which is the initial one that feeds into the others. I guess it probably should be worth it. I guess we can... Probably just want to get stuff that doesn't buff them up too much. I think this is the last boss, right? So, yeah. Probably just go there. Well, Prime Boss would make it harder. I guess it's that one then. Status armor. (28%, 29%) I think it is. The 8 looks a bit weird in that font. 97% damage reduction, 416% fire rates, 541% status strength. Still no armor damage item. RIP. We have 4 alterations. It's good. I guess we can try and find the armor thing here. That's very good. 5 with 1 health. Nope. Couldn't even find it. We do have 1 lock. We can grab both of those, I suppose, since we're on the way out now. Those are actually all pretty good. That would help the most with the boss. This will look slightly funnier. Oh yeah, there's a ton of dark orbs bouncing in between them there. Looks like they can bounce back and forth, as long as there's two there. Alright, let's check what the absolute maximum stats are. 28, 21% armor, 97% damage reduction, 428% fire rates, and 541% status strength. Strong builds, and we can get even stronger with the weapon upgrades that we'll get here. I hope that was enough to max out the helix now, because that was a really long run. 5% chance applying corrosion, spread it to enemies, kinda cool. Chance on kill to create a damaging aura every 0.2 seconds, stack up to 2 times, increasing in size. Ability damage status strength, duration. Ooh, pierce chance, projectile bounce at speed. That's really cool. I guess it's a combination of the purple piercing thing, the blue bouncing thing, and then some speed on top of that. So the thing I was really looking for is this thing. 1% damage for every 3% armor you have. That would have been so nuts on that run, and because it has the armor tag, you're more likely to get it than some of the other stuff. One other thing we didn't find, I think, was that? We might have had one copy of that, I don't remember exactly. That was such a long run. So what do we have on the Helix now? 3 points, looks like it's maxed out. So we could get extra dark and light orbs. I think the burst delay sounds nice. That sounds really strong, but that would look funny. And then we get 2 in the final tier. Shot has a 5% for the third shot, triggering an orb to fire a helix. Ooh, that's really cool. Orbs have a chance to trigger the opposing effect. That's pretty cool. Dark orb hits an enemy, chance of split. Ooh. So we would definitely take that, and then I think one of these two. I guess probably the dark orb splitting. So yeah, some big upgrades for that. Plus, if we had gotten the armor thing in the run, that would have been fantastic. I think the sky was already maxed out. Then we got 444 here. But that's going to be it for now. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you guys next time.